Oh, welcome on this beautiful snowy morning, which really invites me to settle in. It feels nice to feel like I have a reason to settle in and stay exactly where I am for at least an hour or so. So today I want to remind us that we have 4 different stages in the overall practice of surrendered presence. And for the next 4 sessions of practice, I will be only focusing on one of those stages. And so we'll have a prolonged practice of just that stage. So to do a little bit of teaching about the first stage, which is dropping in. And I name it that because I recognize that that is my experience of what I do to move into this practice. And that language is important because when I get agitated, I feel frustration building or confusion building, all the inner turmoils that happen to me. If I hear that phrase drop in, it feels like my awareness drops down into my body and my wider being of mind and heart and spirit. And I am immediately stabilized. It doesn't mean that the frustration immediately goes away. It doesn't mean that anything is fixed. It's just that I am more present to what's happening. So I want to talk a little bit about that dropping in. When I first began practicing with things like meditation or contemplative prayer, I recognized that I attempted to focus. And at that time, my focus was on my mind and attempting to control my thoughts. And it ended up being a pretty big, duking it out sort of battle between my thoughts and my desire to not have thoughts and to quiet things down. And I often went away from practice disappointed and judgmental in myself. And a few years ago, I definitely made progress, but in my opinion, it felt pretty slow. A few years ago, I ran into a meditation teacher named Locke Kelly. And he was teaching a practice of unhooking our awareness from the head center, where we generally locate our mind. And he had had long practice with being able to either direct or allow the attention, or we'll call it awareness, somewhere else in his being, and then eventually sort of somewhere else in the space around him. And his thought is that you can actually be aware from anywhere. And that takes practice. But what was super helpful for me was the possibility that I could locate my attention, my awareness somewhere far from my head, so that this constant tangling up of my awareness with my thoughts and my planning and my rehashing. So if I could get it sort of geographically distant from my mind, I found that I could settle much quicker. And so that's really where that phrase drop in comes from. It's this dropping of my awareness into some other part of my being other than the round and around and around process of my mind. And so it's very helpful when we're in those round and around processes, when we're hearing a voice over and over and over, we're arguing with ourselves or someone else in our mind, that we can drop our awareness somewhere else. And as all of you have already practiced this with me, maybe you find it easy to drop your awareness somewhere else. Or maybe it doesn't make any sense at all. So we will explore that a little deeper in the practice this morning. So I invite you to be in a position, whatever that is, your physical, position your physical body, your being, in such a way that you are both able to be alert, but also allow your body to be relaxed. So it requires support from a chair or your spine. Whatever most allows you to access that alertness and that support. And so I'm going to begin with having you imagine your awareness. So using your imagination to create an image of your awareness. And it's okay for it to arise. It's actually very helpful for it to arise out of the mind. And so when I actually do this, my awareness usually takes the form of a cloud. So it's misty, it's ethereal. It's not solid-like, but it's got the texture and quality of what I imagine awareness would have. I'm reminded of Harry Potter, where Dumbledore can pull some sort of awareness out of people's minds with his wand. So just spend a minute allowing yourself to imagine your awareness. So holding on to that imagining, I invite you to also imagine that in your hand, you're holding a pebble. And just let the pebble, come into form in your hand. So what its size might be, how heavy it is, what color it is, how smooth or rough, what the texture is. And just hold that in your hand. And then imagine that your awareness inhabits that pebble, that stone. So it moves from the head space, the head area, the brain, down into, and is held now in the stone. So just see what it's like to be aware from that stone that you're holding in your hand. And try not to get caught up in logic or science. This is just an experiment, something we're playing with. Is it possible that your awareness can be aware from this stone in your hand? So continuing to hold that stone, just a reminder that the reason we drop in is so that we can know our own experience. It's not in order to push away or change any experiences. So being able to drop our awareness into different parts or aspects of our being helps us to know what we are experiencing. And this is always the first step in any sort of change or transformation, to actually know what's going on here. That is done outside of this process, this practice. For now, we're just noticing. We're not trying to figure out why this is happening, what we're going to do with this information. We are simply allowing experiences to arise and know what the experience is. So we begin with the physical body. And I want you to imagine that you drop that stone, which is your awareness, the equivalent of your awareness, somewhere into your mid body. So these are kind of the grounding centers of our body. So low belly, solar plexus, heart center, so that you get used to when you hear that word in your own mind, drop in. Your awareness drops into one of those centers to begin with. And if you're not particularly attracted to any certain one of those, just choose one. And then just allow your awareness to rest there for a moment. And now begin to allow the awareness to move around in your body. And you can either direct your awareness, meaning, I think I'm interested in my right big toe. What's going on with it today? Or you can just notice where your awareness is drawn into your body and just shift the awareness into that part of your body. So I just felt some tension around my mid spine. So I just experience the awareness traveling to that spot. So now the awareness drops in there. And spend some period of time in each place, but just keep moving the awareness, being a curious explorer of your physical experience in this moment. Be interested to see if you can find a range of experiences in the physical being. So, recognizing that I don't only have tension in my body as my awareness was drawn to the spine. I also notice I have this intense relaxation in my forehead and between my eyebrows. So I drop my awareness in there. And so now we shift and include physical experiences are supporting us because the body is material. It's got a weightiness to it that's different than the experience of mind, heart, body, or sorry, spirit, emotions. Now we're shifting into that territory. So allowing your awareness to now drop into your inner life. It's a vague term. It can take in all kinds of reality, but you will have a sense of what your inner life is. It doesn't dwell exclusively in the head or the mind. It's not a thinking process. And then let your awareness move about in your inner experience. If you have this sense of separation between your awareness and your mind, what happens when you drop your awareness into the mind? Or drop your awareness into your heart. And something that's important in all of this experience is that I ask the questions of what is it like in the heart. It's not a question that needs to be answered with words or language. It's simply a feeling, an experience. It doesn't have to be named. It's a different way to get to know your heart. And then you get to know the different qualities of your heart, that your heart can be very many different ways, just as your mind can. It might be alive, open, closed, protected, dreading. There may be an energy. There may be colors that arise from the heart or the mind. And then we transition once again, and we're going to transition into our surroundings. So we are experiencing ourself in and as the wider world. So at this point, just see if you can imagine that your awareness expands. If you go back to the cloud image, or letting the cloud arise back out of the pebble that we've been dropping into different areas, just letting that awareness expand and become bigger than you are, and then filling the room. And just noticing your experience of your space and being in your space. And then extending even further past the walls of your room or your home, extending out into nature. And just notice if you can both experience yourself, and experience the broader world. And eventually, with practice, it can all become one. There is not this separation between me and my physical body and my inner life and the outer world. We are beings in the world, all of our experience in the world. And the world needs our awareness and our attention. And it begins with giving our own experience our attention so that we can attend to all that is beyond us. So I thank you all for practicing with me, and I hope you continue to practice just this piece of dropping in throughout your day, throughout your week, coming to know yourself fully. See you next time.